The second half of the 16 Street Racing League means we are on the road to the 2015 16 Street Racing League Indianapolis 500, which is a mere month and 2 weeks away. Before the drivers can get there, they've got to head themselves over to Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, to the 4-mile racetrack that Racing Magazine's very own known as the toughest challenge in all of American road racing motorsports. That is a quote by Robin Miller. But before we go any further, we have to kick things off with Horizon Countdown to Green from the beautiful Road America, and that will be in just 1 moment's time. Qualifying is underway. Horizon Countdown to Green is next.
Hey guys, this is Jack and welcome to This Week on iRacing, a brand new series that covers this week's race schedules, live events, and iRacing news. Starting off with rookies, the Mazda Cup is at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, while the street stocks are back at USA International Speedway. The Dallara Dash is also at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, and the Pickup Cup is at the 2008 version of Phoenix. The Skip Barber is at Bathurst this week, while the Spec Racer Ford is at Suzuka. The NASCAR iRacing Series this week hits Homestead Miami Speedway, while both the IndyCar Oval Series and Winter Series are at Las Vegas. In open wheel, the Lotus 49 is at Zandvoort, while the Lotus 79 is at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, and the Star Mazda at Barber Motorsports Park. The GT1 World Championship is at Sebring this week, with the Prototype Challenge at Montreal. Our IMSA Sports Car Challenge Series is at Watkins Glen, with V8 Supercars also at Watkins Glen, while the Rough Cup is at Sonoma. The GT3 cars in the Blancpain Sprint Series is at Okayama. In short track this week, the SK Modified hits Irwindale, and the Tour Modified hits USA International. The late model is at Martinsville, while the super late model is at Thompson International Speedway. The Blancpain Endurance Series returns this week to Silverstone for the 4th round of the Blancpain GT Qualification Series. Inex Racing Yellow leads the standings with Redline Black and 4-racer Coanda Simsport in 3rd. In iRacing news, Black Friday is back. All memberships are now 50% off through December 4th. That means if you're an existing member, you can renew your account for only $49 per year, half off the regular price of $99, with this promo code. New members, head over to iRacing.com/membership and select the subscription that works best for you at 50% off. Lapsed accounts can renew just in time for the release of the Nürburgring next month, using the same offer with this special code. And while you're renewing your subscription, check out our completely redesigned public site at iRacing.com. It's just a small glimpse of what's to come. Last week, iRacers Glenn McGee and Richard Eklund represented iRacing in the Mazda Shootout, competing against other up-and-coming drivers for the opportunity to race in the 2016 Battery Tender Mazda MX-5 Cup. After a grueling day in the rain, the decision came down to 2 finalists, Glenn McGee and Mark Drennan, also an iRacer. The winner will be announced by Mazda later this week. Stay tuned for a full video recap of the event later on. The 2015 iRacing Pro Race of Champions, an annual showdown between real-world professional racers, is officially set for Wednesday, December 16th, with a BMW Z4 GT3 car at Watkins Glen. We expect it to be our biggest live broadcast yet, so be sure to tune in. More details to come. Round 2 of the Gathering of Tweakers Endurance Series and the Neo Endurance Series both ran at COTA this past weekend. In the 3 hours of COTA, Hoysinkveld Engineering takes their second victory in the prototype. Baguette Racing wins the GTC class, and NAB Racing wins the GT3 class. In the Neo Endurance Series 6 hours of COTA, Team Chimera won the prototype class. Thrustmaster Movano Racing dominated the GT1 class, finishing a full lap ahead, and SimRC won the GT2 class. Watch the full broadcast of the 3 hours and 6 hours of COTA on demand at iracing.com/live in our archive section. Tune in to round 3 at Watkins Glen, December 19th and 20th. The NASCAR Pro Series hits Homestead on Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 2 a.m. GMT, with live coverage provided by Live Sim Racing TV. The iRacing Road Pro Series hits Silverstone on Saturday. Tune in Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. GMT for round 3 at Silverstone. Live coverage provided by RaceSpotTV. That's all for this week. We'll see you on the track.
Want to win a 16 Street Racing League championship? You've got to first come to Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. It is one of the toughest challenges on a road course anywhere, but it certainly is one of the most difficult in North America. Now, many think from up above that this track looks simple. It looks as though it's a sequence of 90 degrees left and right hand corners, put together the carousel you see in most American racetracks, and there you are, there you have it. But no, it's got elevation changes. It's narrow, the braking zones are light. There's a mixture of asphalt surfaces you've really got to pay attention to. And oh yeah, if you run out of fuel coming out of the final corner, you're gonna roll up the hill, you're gonna roll all the way back down. So for guys here today, they've got to find a way of getting their cars to the front of the field and staying there. We've seen the road courses of this portion of the championship have been absolutely fantastic so far. We've had 2 of them. We're hoping to have 3 spectacular races in a row, which we welcome you to Verizon Countdown to Green here on RaceSpotTV and on iRacing Live, as well as streaming live on IndyCar.com. Will Vinson along with Aaron Likens and Rachel Whiteford, as we are just about a moment or so through qualifying. In a couple of moments time, Aaron, we will know who is going to be on pole position for this race. However, of course, we want to know first who is doing well in the championship, who's not doing so well in the championship, and after what was an absolutely, and I mean absolutely crazy round last time out, we can say the championship in some ways is now officially wide open.
Yes, it is. And for the driver, if it is a runaway championship for the driver that's out front, it's an awesome thing. For everybody else, not so much as for the viewers, but this championship is now wide open, and currently Holgate is not on the entry list. Meanwhile, his opponent, Alex Simpson, currently provisional pole, and IndyCar driver Sage Karam currently provisionally second here this evening.
Yeah, that's going to be very entertaining to watch. Many people will know, of course, Sage Karam from running in the Verizon IndyCar Series. In fact, let's go and have a look on board with him and that number 8 Big Machine Records car out of Bill Mitchell Bend, out of the final corner, now going to head himself up the hill. The number 8 machine, the ever-popular Sage Karam, who at some point along the line will make certainly be an IndyCar champion. He works himself past start for this line again, looking for pole position. He comes onto a lap now as he works himself through turn number 1. We're going to ride this lap along board with him, down towards turn number, let's say it's turn number 2, turn number 3 he comes now. In towards, well, that little run to turn number 5. This is where we'll see a lot of push to pass during this race session. Push to pass here we would like to see in 3 different places. Up the front straightaway, in towards turn number 1. Down here, into turn number 5, or on the exit of the hurry down, on the exit of the carousel, that infamous run down into Canada. The issue is, if you want to try and do it into Canada, you've got to be very, very careful, because what you'll likely see happen is one guy push a little bit wide of the extra speed as they work themselves through the kinks. If they do that, race over. Just like that.
Yes, yes, it is. And Canada corner, I think we will see a lot of offs there. But with the push to pass, these drivers are going to have to really strategize before the race on when do you want to use it. We talk about fuel strategy on ovals, and once you commit to a strategy, you got to use it. Well, in this race, do you want to use it early for track position, or do you want to use it later in the duels, or do you want to use it in the middle, perhaps during pit cycles? If you're stuck behind somebody, the best time to get around them is if they're in the pits. So this push to pass, we're not exactly going to know when they use it, and well, for the drivers that do get past, they will know, but with a limited quantity as Karam goes around in the final corner, that final corner will very tricky, very difficult to get right. The apex, you really don't hit it till the exit of the corner, and as we saw Sage Karam, it bit him.
Yeah, there is one or two reasons for that one. Air temperature, well, that's not too bad. The humidity, well, that's not too bad, but have a look at the wind speeds here today. It is high. There you can see, very high wind speeds here today, and that is one thing that these guys are going to have to pay attention to. That final corner is always infamous for giving a crosswind, and well, you never know, it may well be a factor here today. But Rachel, we saw the soaring of the wheel there through Canada corner, through Mitchell Bend. We're going to see a lot of that for these guys as well. You've got two very distinct ways of doing the racetrack. You've got the one where you are just soaring away at the wheel, making adjustments in the middle of the corner, and then you've got the opposite one. That is where essentially you try and take it as smooth as possible. It's the Alain Prost versus Ayrton Senna moment. Of course, Alain Prost, the smoother you are, the faster you go. Ayrton Senna, well, let's just drive the car.
Well, good evening, Will. I think we could also go with the Richard Burns and Colin McRae styles as well to that analogy. But yeah, Karam taking a very, shall we say, hands-on approach to his laps here today. One of the biggest things for him really is the fact the winds are shifting so much at the moment. We've gone from what was a south wind to a moment ago a northeast wind of about 15 miles an hour. Now we're a west wind. So it's swinging around a lot at the moment, which is really changing the conditions for these drivers. Of course, for reference for people, the north-south position of this track, as we're talking about it, is north is towards the bottom end, I should say, of the start-finish straight. South is the top of the start-finish straight. So turn 1, south, turn 14, north. Which means that as you're getting these winds swinging, before we had the south wind, of course, that meant you had a tailwind through the final corner. Really unsettles the car, getting a tailwind through one of these corners. And it's changing all the time. As I've been talking, it's now southwest, 9 miles an hour. Some pretty interesting weather conditions, so these drivers will have to be on top of this. It's going to mean they are somewhat tentative, really, throughout the race distance.
Well, we've got ourselves a lot of drivers on track right now. There you can see Tim Miller in the number 91 car, heading himself through turn number 5. Turn 5 will be a very important part of this event as well. You can see Randy Close now, actually, having himself a good run in that number 10 ROX racing car. There you can see him heading himself up the hill, pit road. We talk about how difficult pit road entry is. It's very, very narrow. The amount of times, Rachel, we've seen guys literally coming in nose to tail, so a couple of people fall over each other before 45 miles an hour up pit road. There is the ability to roll up the hill and roll back down if you are that loose on fuel. If you got the front 10 grid spots, you're really going to make sure that you get over the crest. Of course, if you're one of the people further down the field, you're going to make sure you hold the brake as you come into your box.
Yeah, pitting in here is a very difficult task for the drivers, Will. Of course, going uphill there, you can really push up that hill into the pit lane. So you can carry a lot of speed in there, but at the same time you can speed very easily. And with it being an uphill pit road, yeah, holding your brake in the pit box, vitally important as Karam goes off again. And that's underneath the, I believe that's the Johnsonville Bridge there, turn number 9. That car not handling as he wants at the moment. Of course, very fast in practice. He's in second right now, but, well, can he hold on? You've got drivers like Matt Pawelski and drivers like Austin Espete. Both not set time. Both are faster than him in practice.
First part of qualifying is scored complete. So now it's the guys on the second group of guys, Group B, who are going to bring themselves out onto the racetrack. There you can see Vic Cordell in the number 33 machine. For those of you who are new to 16th Street Racing League, it works like this. A half-hour qualifying session. The first 15 minutes are open to the guys who have got themselves, in this case, an even numbered race car. And then the second 15 minutes is for those guys who have got an odd numbered race car. We have ourselves 2 celebrity guest drivers here today. Of course, we've already talked about Sage Karam in the number 8 machine. We've got the number, this is ironic in some ways here, Aaron. We've got the number 18 car of Darren Manning. Of course, he's the 4th Manning that many people in America will know after Archie Eli. And oh yeah, the guy who managed to get himself the most passing yards in the history of the NFL on the same day he gets a 0.0 quarterback rating.
I figured with the name Manning in this race there would be that reference, but yes, Darren Manning is in the entry list tonight. But well, we also have Kyle Kaiser once again joining us, and we did have Gabby Chavez in warm-up. We'll see if he takes to the track in qualifying. So, indeed he is. Indeed he is. So wow, the professional drivers are out in force here tonight.
Indeed, all we need is a little bit of the world's best lawnmower racer, Neff Riag, and who knows, we'll have ourselves a full field of celebrity drivers to make this a fantastic event. There you can see Austin Espartee in the number 777 machine down in towards turn 1. He will come in the Apex Racing Academy car, holding himself nicely through turn 1 into 2. Just to let you know, Brandon Traino already up into P2 in qualifying with a time of 144.033. Broken Arrow and Apex Racing have a look so far. Strong on the road courses of this season. Kyle Kaiser, in fact, is just bringing themselves onto the racetrack now. A couple of people we want to turn our attention to as well. It's the number 11 Foyt Wine machine, Snake Pit Racing machine of Tim Doyle. Now, Aaron, Tim needs to get himself a good result on a road course. Not easy for him because he openly admits he's not the best on the road course. However, P3 in the championship right now, 142 points, 28 back, but more importantly, ahead of Alex Simpson. Tim Doyle is not out of this championship yet.
Not out by any stretch of the imagination. And Doyle, he's been, well, go back to the race 2 weeks ago at Mid-Ohio, about top 10, and what he said is he really speeds up in the race, but qualifying, he has struggled in qualifying here on the road courses. Yeah, you're right, he'll be the first to admit that road courses are not exactly his area of expertise, but right now being an 18th, let's see, he crosses the line. Any improvement? No, actually almost a half second slower than the previous lap. So Doyle really going to have to really hunker down and maybe hope for attrition if he doesn't have the speed.
In the interim, there's a look at the number 98 machine of Gabby Chavez as he now runs himself through Bill Mitchell Bend in towards that final corner, turn number 14. Chavez looking as though he's not as strong through those final couple of corners, but he's now going to build up speed and bring himself onto a flying lap. And you want to know who the DHL machine is just ahead of him? Well, that is Vic Cordell there in the number 33 car coming down in towards turn 1. He's just completed a lap. There, as you can see, the number 65 Banshee Autosport machine of Eric Davis. Qualifying so far, it is Alex Simpson from Brandon Traino, from Sage Karam, from Christopher Demerit, then Mikel de Jong, Austin Espartee, Christian Steele, Randy Cosno, Xavier de Carvelo, and Eric Davis rounding out your top 20. 29 guys who made themselves a trip to Road America. And so far, we have had about 24 of them get themselves a qualifying time. Rachel, that mid-pack is where things are incredibly close. I'm having a look from about the likes of Randy Crosno. He's down in P number 8 through to Martin Miller in P number 11, separated by just 0.2 of a second right now.
Yeah, I think it's very close here, of course, and the race conditions will see that spread out somewhat depending on how these guys are on their tyres. We've already seen some drivers very, very erratic here, sawing on that wheel a lot. So we're going to see a lot of tyre scrubbing and tyre wear happening during this race, so that'll probably change things, but the grid very, very close over single laps here at qualifying. going to be a very tight race right now. Good spread of time throughout the field, but it's going to be very tough in that mid-pack.
Yeah, there you can see Dean Mole in the iRacing Today Motorsports number 31 car heading himself down into Canada Corner. And there's a reason why it's called Canada Corner, Aaron. It all comes back down to the time when you used to get yourself a large contingent of Canadian race fans down at that corner in the stands, and they would always used to apparently throw all their beer bottles onto the, well, essentially what is the runoff area of the racetrack, and the legend has stuck as we'll have a look at Brandon Trainer about to start a lap.
Yeah, that's the legend. Also, it is the point that's really closest to Canada, so naturally that's where they would congregate. But very jovial atmosphere in that corner. I was at the SCCA runoffs a little over a decade ago, and what a place to watch a race from. Well, not really the stands. You're really sitting on the natural terrain and hear the cars on the first lap come down through the kink, and then you see them and the passing, the speed. It is one of the more phenomenal places on a road course to watch an event.
Yeah, as we just have a look there up above here on RaceSpotTV, our aerial coverage here today is brought to you by And1 Design, the official graphics partner of RaceSpotTV. Tell you what, we've got some great stuff coming up for you once we get ourselves to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in just 6 weeks' time. Our onboard coverage here today, well, that is brought to you by the iRacing Forum app for Android. If you got yourself a smartphone and it's not an iPhone, well, you need to go and get yourself the iRacing Forum app for Android. You download that now from the Google Play Store. And yes, I know we missed out Windows phones. If you own Windows phones, we're sorry. Simple as that. There you can see Brandon Trainer still on a lap. Now, likely, it looks as though Alex Simpson won't be touched in the battle for pole position. And in turn, Trainer has himself a 6/10 to a second advantage right now over Sage Karam in the qualifying time. But still plenty to play for. Having a look down in your pack, though, we talk about guys needing to make a statement. Brandon Trost there, Aaron. He needs to make a statement as well in that AA7 car. We know he can be strong. We've seen him be strong time after time. He's currently P4, joint with Alex Simpson in the championship. But the back half of this season, he is going to have to push.
Yeah, if we've talked about Tim Doyle on the road courses, Brandon Trost, last week I wasn't part of the broadcast, but I did hear him that he's never turned a lap at this track. So when you are going for a championship, that really, you don't want to be throwing things together at the last minute. So tonight could be the makings of a very long or potentially short, for all the wrong reasons, evening for Brandon Trost.
As Matt Pavelski's moved himself up into P3 now in qualifying, Rachel. The most colourful car on the grid now will be starting as it stands from the inside of row number 2.
Yeah, he will be, and that's a great position for him now. Pavelski, we saw, was fast during qualifying, and it's going to put him in a good spot for this one. But he'll be alongside Sage Karam there, so that would be a good one for him. But the guy who's currently panicking is Christopher Demerit. Things are pretty tight there between himself and Michel de Jong, so could see a switch of positions there in that running order. But right now it looks like Simpson and Traino, Pavelski and Karam side by side. Demerit and de Jong, two very, very tough competitors there in the third row, so that's going to be an interesting one to see. But we do still have some of the qualifiers to come in. Not really expecting any change up there at the top from those guys who have to get set times, but looking like the usual suspects for the road courses at the front.
Michael Peters in the Peters Motorsports Miller Lite number 3 car heading himself through Bin Mitchell Bend, as we do remind you, of course, to please drink responsibly. Exit of final corner for Michael Peters. He's had himself a tough season so far, but he's going to work himself up the hill in his aim to set himself his first qualifying lap of the day in that number 3 car, and this is going to be then a lap of 151.524. He's hoping to do better on his second flying lap, and that's one thing we have seen. These tyres taking a lap or so to come in. You've got to balance a lot of things together as Brandon Trainer is going to work himself past the stripe there. That's a 144.059, and that still isn't good enough for pole position as Mikel de Jong bins it on the final corner. You talked about this already, Aaron. Drivers binning it on the final corner. We always see at tracks like Darlington, how many people are going to get a Darlington stripe? Indy, how many people are going to hit the turn 1 wall? Here today, it's going to be a case of how many people are going to lose the car out of the final corner.
Yeah, absolutely. That final corner. I say this, many tracks have a corner that you can take 1,000 times, and you never feel as if you did it properly. This track's turn, it's the final corner. And if you early apex, you're going to go off late. If you late apex it, you're going to have to crank the wheel on exit, lose the rear, and you can get into a tank slapper in the middle if you do it just wrong. And as Austin Espati just gets it all wrong out of the final corner. So, well, it's shaping up to be that final corner. If we get down to battles at the end of the race, who's going to be able to push and not go over that limit? When you get pressure from behind, it's very easy to overdrive, and of all the corners, that final corner, you cannot overdrive it.
Yep, there we are. So, let's have a look through your field so far. We now have ourselves 26 drivers who set themselves a qualifying time here today, as there is a look at the number 5 machine of Mikel de Jong. Not to confuse, of course, with Mitchell de Jong, as he runs in the RaceSpotTV World Championship Grand Prix Series and is a driver for the Red Bull Rallycross team. But 1 minute 13 remaining in qualifying. Basically, if you're not on a lap, get yourself onto one quickly. Like this guy, Vic Cordell, he's well down in the field right now. He needs to move himself up. Vic Cordell comes into this event down in P number 8 in the championship, 69 points back. He needs a strong showing here today. He now comes up the hill for what will be his final attempt at qualifying. Some of these guys from now on, they just have to wait. People like Alex Simpson, like Christopher Demerit, like Sage Karam, Christian Steele, Xavier De Carvello, Martin Miller, Bradley Walters, Gabby Chavez, and Brian Karzewski. They have already done their qualifying laps. But now we've got to wait for the likes of Pavelski, de Jong, Espati, Davis, Borgenhagen, Krosno, Turner, Miller, Mattinson, Mole, Doyle, Cordell, Trost, Peters, and Kaiser to set themselves qualifying time. The big story coming into this, though, is the fact that we will be San, the championship leader, Tim Holgate, here tonight. So the guy who leads the championship going to use his drop week here today. We'll talk about that one and the implications as this race progresses. And of course, what we do know is that quite often it's always a case of we always rate off that driver of Tim Holgate, but he comes up strong in the end. Checkered flag in the air for qualifying. So whatever lap these guys are on, that'll be his final one. Eric Davis past the stripe. He's P number 8. Austin Espati working himself through turn number 5. Mikel de Jong heading himself on the exit of the hurry down sections. 5 drivers on track. Rachel, it is officially, let's see what you've got time.
Very much so, and well, Cordell, we're not expecting a big improvement from him. He's not bad, but very much an oval specialist as we see him come through Canada corner now. We're coming to complete that lap now. Bill Mitchell Bend now in the final corner for him before that run up the hill towards the start-finish line, and we'll see his time. But yeah, Cordell, amazing on the oval side of things. Just not quite as ninja, shall we say, on the road courses. Definitely a tough competitor, though. Definitely great in the battles, but it's the overall speed. We'll see if he makes an improvement here. That was a little faster, I believe.
He was up one position up into P22 ahead of Brandon Trost by for 4/100ths of a second. Just a couple of people now to come past the stripe. Jack Turner on pit road. Michael Peters is on the run down into Canada corner. Austin Espati on the run out the final corner. He's going to bring that car on towards pit road. Jack Turner technically is on track, but he's on pit road. So now it's just a look on board with the Miller Lite car of, well, Michael Peters. He goes wide. And that is, we'll have to say, not the way we wanted qualifying to end, but it is over. Let's have ourselves then a look at your starting grid for this evening's event. It is live here on RaceSpotTV, streaming live on IndyCar.com. Well, there's a look at your starting grid, brought to you by An1 Design. Alex Simpson starting on the inside of row number 1 for Apex Racing UK. Broken Arrows. Brandon Treno in second place. And Matt Pavelski inside of row number 2. Sage Karam will be lining up alongside him on that second row of the grid. Row 3, Christopher Demerit and Mikel de Jong. Row 4, Austin Espartee and Eric Davis, with Gary Borgenhagen and Christian Steele running out your top 10. Right across now in 11th is Xavier de Carvalho in 12th. Then Martin Miller, Bradley Walters in row number 7. Gabby Chavez and Jack Turner on the 8th row of the grid. That'll be an interesting row to watch. Miller, Matinson, row 9, Dean Moll and Brian Karzeski running out your top 20. Well, there's a look at the remainder of your field here today. You can see that we had ourselves a total of 24 drivers set themselves a qualifying time. We are going to step aside as we wrap up then the Verizon Countdown to Green here for the 16th Street Racing League. The race, more exciting road course racing, is up next.
Truex in the outside, contact made. 56 slides it into 4. Who's going to be into stripe? Dead even, give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy.
If all roads in the 16th Street Racing League lead to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway to 16th Street in Georgetown, well, first, we've got to pass through Road America, Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. This is a state that has, in the last week or so, lost its pride a little bit. Anyone just needs to go and have a look, see what happened to the Packers this past Sunday against the Detroit Lions of all teams. But it's a proud state. And it's a state that has got a heritage in everything it does, be it in football, be it in motorsport. Of course, it's got the oldest operating racetrack in the world. We were there a week ago, and now we go to the best road course in North America, period. It is Road America. It is exactly 4 miles in length, and we are on the pace lap here as we welcome you then to race coverage. There is a look at our weather conditions. You can see air temp, not bad. Humidity, not bad. Partially cloudy, but the wind speed of that one is high, and that is going to affect the drivers over the course of this event. There you can see the pace car as the guys are working themselves too wide on the run down into the kink. You can see out front, you've got yourself Alex Simpson and this Steak and Shake car of Brandon Traino. These guys now just about 3 corners away from going green in this event. we got ourselves plenty of onboards for you as always. We've got ourselves this one. It's Tim Miller with the Chicago Pizzas Racing on board. We got ourselves Tim Doyle with the Foyt Wines on board. Sage Karam has himself the Big Machine Records on board. We got ourselves the Banshee Auto Sports on board with the number 65 car, and then of course the number 15 Steak and Shake on board. That is with Brandon Traino. Just a couple of corners now to go, and then we will let it rip here in Wisconsin, in Road America. And this is a race that will determine the shape of the championship now until we get ourselves to Indy just after Christmas. Alex Simpson will now pick up the pace. Is that pace car going to turn itself right, head itself up the hill? Ladies and gentlemen, the second half of the season is now officially underway in the 16th Street Racing League, and you can see it already getting a jump with Simpson, but they're almost on the grass behind them as they come down in towards turn number 1 for the first time. Well, they'll all make it through, we hope. Turn number 1 is officially upon us, and you can see guys slipping around. That's Matt Pavelski going a little bit wide. The big loser of that one was Sage Karam. He's already down into P number 6, but ahead of him that was Mikel de Jong, who was literally on the grass and the run up the hill in towards turn number 1, Aaron.
Yeah, it was Pavelski. This is the first time he's had a start that he wasn't completely sideways on lap 1. Still quite a few turns to go in this first lap as a car to the inside. That is Espetit to the inside of Sage. Karam gets a little bit loose, saves that car. That could have taken out half the field there out at turn 5.
Yeah, and there you can see on board with the number 8 machine of Cam. He's struggling with cold tyres. He's now about to be passed there by Eric Davis in the Banshee Autosport car. Christian Steele behind him. And while not a good start to this event for Sage Karam, you see holding the inside line, playing defense. The number 78 car, Christian Steele, right up behind him as they work themselves down to the carousel for the first time. But out front, we've got ourselves a 0.7 of a second gap already between Simpson and Brandon Traino. That will be important. The draft at this racetrack can well be important. And behind Brandon Traino, it's already 1.3 seconds between Traino and Demerit. As you can see, Christian Steele was not able to get past into kind of those tyres, and now heating up for these guys. It's a long race, 30 laps of racing to go. That equates, Rachel, to about an hour's race here today. One thing though, Alex Simpson, it's all clear track ahead of him.
This for Alex Simpson, but one guy who's on the back foot already, Will, is the car of Gabby Chavez. They had a car fault on the pace lap. He was forced to run to the back there, had to come down pit road, get some repairs into that car. They are back out now and running. They are in dead last position on the track.
Yeah, there you can see the number 98 machine, the Barrett and Wilkins car, heading himself now down into turn number 5. The number 98 machine, you say, is down, but he is not out, or looking to make up some position as he now works himself down on that 27th position. But Traino still half a second behind Simpson. In fact, having a much better start to the second lap of the event. Having a look down your pack though, it is literally nose to tail to tail to tail to tail down in your pack. The likes of Jack Turner, Dean Moll, pretty much separated by about 0.4 of a second. And this mid-pack, we know, Aaron, is where championships can basically be won or lost. And well, essentially what we need to make sure you do is make sure if you're down in this mid-pack with your likes of Brandon Traino, to finish first, you've got to get the car to the finish line at the end of this event. But he's got Tim Doyle right behind him down into the hurry downs.
Yes, he does. And there's one thing that we see sometimes, people running mid-pack, 15th, 16th, 17th, that run really aggressive. And people will ask, well, why would you fight so hard to what's the difference between 15th and 14th? But when we get to Indianapolis, this Trost goes a little bit wide. Does he save it? Oh, what a save in the kink. What a save by Brandon Trost. All 4 wheels off the car. Tim Doyle can't capitalize. And for Doyle right now, his eyes are wide open. And there goes Trost spinning out of Canada corner. Don't think he's going to collect anybody, but Tim Doyle was very patient there. He knew Trost was maybe driving a little bit too hard, but that's the thing now. Trost, if he would have been conservative, that's 6th position. So when we get to Indy at the end of the season, that one spin, 6 positions, those points could be a major factor.
And let's not forget what happened to Brandon Trost at Indy last year. He just avoided the tyre barriers there. He managed to get that car looped around and is going once again. Got himself passed there by Michael Peters in the protest, although he is ahead of Paul Jennings, just repassing Jennings there. Out front, well, you got yourself Mikel de Jong versus Christopher Demerit down in towards turn number 5. Mikel de Jong on the inside. Then you got yourself Demerit on the outside. Side by side, so they work themselves up into 6. This is a good way to figure out how your car is handling. And Mikel de Jong, they're still going to go side by side on the exit of the corner. Now de Jong will have himself the position as they come through the hurry downs. Good start, Rachel, to this race for that Mad Cape Racing machine of Mikel de Jong. He started it, well, down a couple of positions where he is now. He has moved himself into the top 5, into P4, and now he's going to hunt down Matt Pavelski.
Very much so, but Christopher Demerit behind him will not be denied here. He'll be following him through as well, I suspect. Two have been very similar on pace in qualifying and practice, Will, so expect Demerit to follow in the shoes of de Jong. But de Jong definitely will be starting to make a gain. In fact, he already is making a gain on the back of Pavelski, so we'll be seeing a different driver on that podium position early on.
Yeah, having a look at a replay there. This is Jack Turner looping it around on the exit of the hurry downs. Now, he doesn't actually hit anything initially. No, he doesn't hit anything at all. So that's the second spinner we've had today. No one yet, though, Aaron, on the exit of the final corner. So...
not so fast. Demerit just had an off. So he did lose the position to Espati. Demerit and de Jong, they were going back and forth, so I have to wonder if there were some uses of the push to pass there. Typically, you're not going to see so much flip-flopping of positions, but in the first 3 laps, they've passed each other 3 times. That could be the draft, but I think push to pass has come into play, but right now that's not a factor, as Demerit got away with one, doing a little bit of rallycross out of the final corner.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of people do that one already. To give you an update, by the way, on what the rules and regulations are for Verizon push to pass for this event, it's quite simple. The guys will each have themselves 10 uses of the button. That'll give them a horsepower increase for basically the straightaway that they're on. It lasts for a certain period of time, but as soon as they get onto the brakes, it's gone. That's why you'll see them using it, as we said, on Verizon Countdown to Green, on the run up into turn 1, into turn 5, and then of course into Canada corner. Perhaps trying to Trost even was on the button there as he's trying to defend from Tim Dolan. We talked about that, Rachel. You try and get onto the button in the King, you are going to push wide. You must be very careful to make sure that you don't end up putting that car into that hard concrete wall on the outside.
I've got to say, using the push to pass in the kink is the act of an absolute hero. Something I'd probably only consider on the last lap, Will. The kink is flat for these drivers in these conditions, and I would say from personal experience it's only just flat. So using push to pass there could overspeed you, the car will push wide, get some grass on the exit, and that can just get the wheels spinning and you can go round. So after the kink, sure. Before the kink, only if it was the last moment of desperation. Otherwise, that's very optimistic.
Just having a look there at your standing. Simpson does lead away. He's not in P number 4. That's a graphical issue. Treno is in 2nd place, and Matt Pavelski is in 3rd. Mikel de Jong in 4th. Austin Espati in 5th. Christopher Demerit in 6th. Eric Davis in 7th. And then Sage Karen running out your top 8. About 10.5 seconds separating P1 through 8 right now. You can see, though, you got yourself a nice little scrap still going on with Espati and Demerit. It's opened up recently because Demerit has been a little bit loose as of the last couple of corners. Frank Garzeski versus Tim Miller, though. This is a battle that we are going to pay attention to. Garzeski in the Servant Autosport car, looking down to the inside as they come down into turn number 5. Now, this is one corner that you can defend on the outside line, and that is exactly, Rachel, what Tim Miller just did there. Hold the outside line into turn 5. If you need to use a rumble strip, you can. That corner really is a lane wider than most people ever give it credit for.
It is. You've got a lane wider on the entry as well. Well, you can run onto the coloured strips you'll see on the entry to the corner. You've also got the planked area to the outside of the exit. So it is a fairly wide corner. There is room for error. Too wide for the area is optimistic, and it's quite... It takes a lot of talent, I'd say, to go through there too wide. But these guys, of course, an incredibly talented field. They make it look easy. Probably one of the most difficult parts of the track to go too wide through, but yeah, they can get it done there, and it's an opportunity for a pass if you're willing to use it.
Yeah, we've got ourselves an incident on track. Oh, a big incident! Big incident on track That has got himself Gary Borgenhagen, number 10 machine, and Randy Krosno involved. And then Martin Miller was coming through the kink, and he gets involved as well. Replay of this one is coming up for you now. It was on the way either through the kink or into Canada corner. You got yourself Krosno involved in that, and it all starts there with Gary Borgenhagen spinning that car around. That's the number 78 car, still nowhere to go. Krosno, nowhere to go. And then you see yourself just coming into shot right now will be Martin Miller. Miller gets himself tagged as well. That is a 4-car incident. And also Brandon Trace goes off as well. We're going to have to get ourselves another look at this one. We're going to start by looking on board with Martin Miller, but we can get confirmation that Brandon Trace, he went off all by himself from the exit of Canada corner. We want to see whether that was related, but we're on board with Martin Miller now. He comes down into Canada corner, and you can just see the carnage that's going on ahead of him. The track pretty much blocks. Miller tries to find a way, and actually taken out by his own teammate, but then Brandon Trace, he has himself his own incident down at the kink, and well, Brandon Trace is actually that's down at Canada. He is out of the event as well. It is basically what I like to call calamity hour, Aaron. Everything happening at once, but Borgenhagen, Steele, Krosno, Miller, and Trost are all out of this event.
And the one person who might have a slight smile is Tim Doyle out of that. Remember, we said he might need a little bit of attrition. And my goodness, we lost about a quarter of the field in just about 5 seconds time. And when you're following cars, that was when you get a train of cars like that, when there's trouble in front, you can't see it. So you try to get out of the way. And unfortunately for Martin Miller, well, it's much easier to miss a stationary object than it is an object moving. So sometimes when you try to get out of the racing line, you actually are going to impede another driver's process. And for Miller, that's what caught him out.
Yeah, and of course, don't forget that there are marbles that build up on the edges of the racetrack. 4-5 laps into the event, even after qualifying, it's not going to be too bad. As we had ourselves, though, now with Tim Doyle, as he's going to work himself up the hill, past start finish line. Yes.
Well, we have another driver out. Merritt, the final corner strikes him, so Christopher Demerit is also now out of this race.
Well, let's get ourselves a look then from Christopher Demerit. That's the back end of the incident. Let's see if we can figure out what happened to him in more detail. Going to ride ourselves then on board with Christopher Demerit, as there you can see him heading himself now on the run through the final corner. And, well, Christopher Demerit, unfortunately, it looks as though that he is going to be a driver to really bite. And the situation is, Aaron, people's wondering, well, why are these guys losing it so much? It partially comes down to the fact that, I'm sorry, we have just lost our images. There we are. It comes down partially to the fact that we've got these huge gusts of winds that we're talking about. It's not the fact these guys have to be careful. It's a crosswind at this racetrack.
Demerit's out.
We've just talked about
Demerit. We did? I apologise.
As Brandon Traino, though, he runs himself in P number 2 right now as lap number 7 of 30 in this event. Alex Simpson still leads by 2.2 seconds as they work themselves now battle the final corner. But yeah, Aaron, crosswind, that's the reason why these guys are struggling so much.
Absolutely. And the other thing is, some drivers will use a little bit lower downforce here. These straightaways are so long, and this is what we sort of see at the Indy road course as well. Lots of drivers using a very aggressive, very low downforce set, and with these winds, gonna really catch you out. And for Demerit, I said that earlier, if you early apex that and you get on the gas at the same point in time, you are gonna run wide on exit, and the ground there is a little bit uneven, a little bit not just grass, but dirt, and the tires get into the dirt, spin a little bit. It's a one-way ticket to the inside wall, and for Demerit, well, his race is over.
Well, riding ourselves on board now with Austin Espartee. He is at the rear end of the top 5, 10.1 seconds behind your race leader, Alex Simpson, right now, as they scrap out through turn number 5 on the run up the hill. You can see, actually, that traffic is already, Aaron, becoming a bit of a factor in this one. And the issue is, because it is a narrow racetrack, these guys have got to be careful as they work themselves through the traffic here. Interesting to know, a mover up through the field as well. He didn't qualify. Joe Branch is already up 12 positions in this event.
At the rate we're going, if you finish this race, you may have a top 10. Traffic, though, is going to come into play, and I think Brandon Traino is fully aware of that running P2. If we remember 2 weeks ago, Alex Simpson lost the lead to Pavelski in traffic. So for Traino, he's going to want to just keep Simpson in his sights. Maybe make Simpson make an unforced error. He had one of those in a traffic situation at Barber 4 weeks ago. So if you can just keep Simpson in your sights, maybe something can happen. He is bleeding some time at about 3/4 of a second. But if you can just keep him just a little bit close, maybe he'll be able to capitalize on an unforced error.
Sage Karam versus Xavier de Carvello. This is for P number 8 right now. It seems to be that Carvello's lap times have started to fall away. A 147.860 last time by, a 146.735 last time by for Sage Karam. So Karam, Rachel, is closed now up to the rear of the Carvello as Terry Mattinson looks as though he's had himself a spin. That is down. Where we are at the final corner. So that is now 3 drivers to have had themselves an incident at the final corner so far this race.
It is. The wind swung back to the southwest, which probably helped contribute to that one. That would have put him in a tailwind as he came through the corner, so that's going to hurt him. But yeah, Karam back on the charge. He's found his feet again. He did start 4th, of course. He's down to 8th position now. Closing in on Di Carvello, and he will hopefully be getting that position soon as he begins his long slog towards the front. But getting loose there in turn 5 for Sage Karam.
And a lap ago,
a
lap ago in turn 6, Karam actually spun, came very close to the inside wall. I don't believe as there was a driver off as he just passed. That was Gabby Chavez doing a little bit of landscaping out of turn 6. But Sage Karam, that previous lap, did have a little bit of wheel spin, which, you know, I think something is just askew with Karam's car. He was practicing very consistent at 44s. And what we saw in the later stages of qualifying and in this race, perhaps it's the wind. When the wind picked up, his car is just not liking the conditions out here today.
Yeah, as you can see, we're on board with him now, though, as he comes down into Canada corner. Will he try and look down to the inside? Oh, yes, he will. And will he manage to get the car stopped? Oh, yes, he will. Karam up into P7, and Carvello does get a better run on the exit of the corner, but it's single file now through Bill Mitchell-Benn. 1/3 of this race is going to be scored complete the next time by. And of course, this is a track that will host around in the 2016 Verizon IndyCar Series. And all of a sudden, you start to wonder why. It's an interesting thing here as well, that you've got ourselves a couple of drivers as Carvello's actually got himself back past Sage Karam, and that was down at the final corner. So replay of that one coming up as well. It's another look at the final corner here, Rachel. We're going to have this all day long, shall we say. We're just going to have a look there at our onboard camera, and it was from Canada corner on board then with Sage Karam into Bill Mitchell-Benn into the final corner. Sage Karam, I believe he just pushes wide a bit.
Yeah, Karam pushed wide. The car really not getting on with him. Very loose for him, so he's having to really fight the car. He loses momentum off the corner because of it. So Karam having to really dance on the throttle there as he is back past Di Carvello. As we run up now towards turn 6, probably the hardest corner on the track, I think, personally. Of course, you're coming up to a crest, you're braking, you're starting to turn in, downshifting, and, well, the track drops away from you as you try to make a slow corner. So, probably one of the places we'd see him suffer, but he has got a headwind there due to the current prevailing conditions. That helps him a little bit. It seems to be in this second half of the circuit he really suffers. Just
to give you an update, Joe Branch has done a pit stop, 7.9 seconds, 8.5 seconds for Tim Doyle. Branch has leapfrogged Tim Doyle in that one, by the way. Terry Mattinson out and away in 7.5 seconds, 8-second pit stop.
Simpson in.
As Simpson is on towards pit road.
And everybody's coming in.
Mattinson, 7.5. Tim Miller, 8 seconds. Jack Turner, 9.1. But here comes Simpson. Here comes Trano. The Young will stay out. Pavelski is in. Austin Espati is in. Everyone is coming in with the exception of a couple of drivers. Lap number 11 of 30 here. As you can see, Alex Simpson now coming down into his pit box. He's going to be the first one to take fuel and tyres. Brandon Trano right behind him. You can see Pavelski into his pit box as well. 8.6 seconds for Alex Simpson out and away. 8.6 also for Brandon Trano. 8 seconds for Matt Pavelski. Austin Espati in the treble 7 car out and away in 8.4 seconds. Eric Davis is going to do his time now. Sage Karam coming into his pit box as well. Of course, Karam is right down at the end. He brings that car in actually very slow into his pit box. We'll talk about that in a moment. But Eric Davis out and away in 8.5 seconds. As we've got ourselves more times coming up now. Karam, 9.8. Walters, 10 seconds. Karzeski, 9.2 seconds. But now, your official de facto second leader of the day, well, that is Mikel de Jong. Only reason why, Aaron, is because of the fact that he's not yet pitted.
And if anybody's thinking that, well, maybe somebody could pull off a one-stop strategy here today, I don't think that's possible. Anytime we see people pit this early from halfway, one-stopper's not going to be in the cards here today. So next time I expect our leader to pit, handing the lead back over to Simpson, which Simpson, when he came out, he had Gabi Chavez in front of him for 2 corners. That cost him a little bit of speed, but then Treno had to work past him as well. So Treno lost about the equal, if not more, time.
Yeah, and there you can see de Jong is on pit road. 70 kilometers an hour. If you're European, of course, in American money, that is 45 miles an hour. So everyone now has pretty much made their first pit stop of the day. As you can see, the Miller Lite number 3 machine also of, that is, of course, there. Mr. Peters in the number 3 car coming out of pit road in 7.8 seconds. Back out onto track, he will come. De Jong then, pit stop time for him. He'll be out and away in a moment. It is a total time of 8.9.4 seconds then for Mikel de Jong as he comes back out onto the track. Now, it's an interesting thing to note here. Sage Karam, not obviously used to sim racing that much, Aaron. We can tell that by the way he entered pit road. That is proper Verizon IndyCar Series rules package there. Unlike sim racing, where basically people just pull it into their spot.
Karam, actually, I raced with him, oh, wow, this was probably 09 in on the service with Pontiac Solstices, or whatever the plural of that car would be. But Karam showed exceptional speed, and this was before anybody out there, really, he was on anybody's radar. So Karam has had a little bit of experience. Whether or not he is as used to it now as, say, he was 6 years ago, probably not, but it can be a very hard transition to go from that to this, and especially with the pit rule. Some drivers, pitting can be a very interesting experience when you have people trying to go 4 wide down the pit lane. So when people do it the right way, it's a little bit more orderly.
Let's not forget as well, Aaron, that of course Sage Karam very used to pulling into a pit box with 4 guys kneeling around his wheels.
Absolutely.
Which is not really a problem for him here.
Yep. 12 laps of 30 scored complete. The next time these guys come past the start-finish line here in Road America, there are your top 8. Simpson from Treno after pit stops. Well, the gap is just, well, it's actually 2.6 seconds. Just ignore the timing and scoring there, or update at the line. Then you've got yourself Paveski in 3rd, Esparti in 4th, Mikel de Jong in 5th, Davis in 6th, Sage Karam in 7th, and Azalia de Carvela will round out your top 8. We are going to step aside here on RaceSpotTV, streaming live, of course, also on IndyCar.com. We'll be back with more after this.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos and danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. Sure, they've got the most accurate tracks and realistic cars out there, but that's just the start. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight, and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all are kept in the pits. Not to mention that with over 45,000 active members already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in on the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
You never miss a moment of RaceSpotTV side by side. As, oh, you just see there that they were going side by side. Carl Cage and Terry Matinson, they just came together on the exit of the hurry downs. That means that Terry Matinson now is under pressure from Jack Turner as they head themselves through the carousel and down in towards the kink once again. It looks like ST versus De Jong. That one is staying static at 1 second right now, Aaron. De Jong in the number 5 machine, Mad Cape Racing car, of course, scrapping it out with Austin SPT in the Apex Racing Academy Treble 7 car as well. Still 1 second, and that is Michael Peters there, just being put a lap down to these guys on the exit of turn number 5. It does look as though the SPT actually lost himself a couple of attempts of a second through that process.
Yeah, when you have a car that goes wide to let drivers by, sometimes you do have to react to that, and it is going to throw off your braking zone. This track is very hard. Well, going back to how this track, why it is so good, so many tracks that are made today have such a flow to it. This track has so many straightaways that it is very hard to get into a rhythm. A lot of the newer tracks are rhythm-based, and because of that, some people will call them relatively boring. This track gives you time to think about what's going to happen in front of you. That being said, when there is something that changing dynamic like a lap car, it can really influence your braking zone, and you're watching them. And well, turn 5, probably the second slowest corner on this track. Still, you have to be absolutely perfect, as De Jong just went a little bit wide and curb hopped in the next to last corner, so he is really pushing it to maintain that 4th spot. And remember, he did 1 extra lap, so when we get to pit stops, he may be able to put in a little bit less fuel than Espity. Espity might have a little bit more speed, but De Jong may have the better pit strategy.
Yep, they come down towards turn number 1 again, of course, now into the second half of this event. And the important thing, Rachel, is that if you're the likes of De Jong, you cannot bin that race car. The reason why is, of course, the championship is still up for grabs all over the place. De Jong, yeah, he's all the way down in P number 12. It's going to take a miracle for him to work himself up into the actual championship position. But there's still the opportunity for a number of drivers to gain some big points. For example, the likes of Jim McClure, not here today. The likes of Vic Cordell, struggling. Brandon Trainer out. No Sturgios, sorry, not Brandon Trainer, I'll say that back. Brendan Trost. No PJ Sturgios here today. So there's some big positions that be gained as these guys try to get themselves in now to the top 10 at least, potentially even the top 5 in points. And to give you an update, by the way, Brandon Treno is still running in 2nd position there in the Steak and Shake number 15 car, heading himself down in towards Canada.
Yeah, they are right now, and of course the point situation is a very fluid one, with this being a split championship wheel between road and oval racing. I mean, you have drivers that are naturally better at one or the other. Drivers like Vic Cordell, drivers like Eric Davis, very strong on the oval side. Randy Krosno, also incredibly strong on the oval side. Perhaps a little weaker on the road side. Those sort of drivers really have to bring their game and get a good, consistent finish on the road courses. And we have the road drivers who really must excel on the road courses because they are a little bit weaker perhaps on the ovals. So it's going to be an interesting point of making sure those guys can optimize when they're at their least best, shall we say. In places like this, it's a tough track where even the road guys can have a hard time. But up at the front of the field, though, Simpson with Trainer, with Pawelski, 3 road course regulars who are ringing it here today.
Yeah, your biggest mover inside your top 10 by far is Joe Branch. Let's get a look then at a lap on board with him in a moment's time with the Verizon number 28 machine. He's got himself Brian Kozlowski about a second back. Branch though pushes wide down at Bill Mitchell Bend. And what I always like doing here is when we have a driver who's not running himself at the front of the field, the driver who's running himself in traffic, it's always good to see how they're handling that race car. You can see just getting himself onto the rev limiter as he works himself down in towards turn number 1. But Joe Branch then going to ride on board with him. Karzeski is actually going to be passed there by Tim Doyle down in towards turn 1. So Tim Doyle now, Aaron, moves himself up into P11. Joe Branch up into P10. He's having himself a fantastic day today.
If we were to look at Tim Doyle's starting position and finishing results from the 3 road courses, he may be the hardest charger of all the competitors. His qualifying, well, has been abysmal. But what he's been able to do in the race, he's been consistent. That's one thing. Drivers can run out, do extremely fast laps, but one mistake here ends it. And Doyle, what lap times he can run, he runs it. He does not try to stretch the limit. He doesn't try to drive that extra maybe 2 or 3 tenths that he probably is capable of, but at the risk of going off. And same thing with Joe Branch, as Doyle is almost closing in just a little bit. Got to watch out for the arrow push in this corner when you are following, and the wind here today certainly most is not helping that. But for Branch, same thing. Qualifying on these road courses hasn't been the best, but come race results, top 10.
Yeah, as you can see there, on board with Branch into Canada corner. The gap between himself and Tim Doyle is about 6 tenths per second through Bill Mitchell Bend. Then second round of pit stops will be taking place in just about 3 to 4 laps time. No fuel saving required at this racetrack. We talked about this earlier, Rachel. Some of these guys, people like Sage Karam, like Gabby Chavez, they are basically getting themselves some free test time here at Road America. Of course, the Verizon IndyCar Series has been here. There's a great video on IndyCar.com actually of James Hinchcliffe getting back into the car and doing some laps. But this is sim racing time now for the likes of Sage Karam and the likes of Gabby Chavez. And if it is windy at Elkhart Lake next year, we'll know why those 2 drivers are high up in the field.
Very much so, and of course with iRacing providing laser scanned tracks for these guys to practice on, they are as accurate as you can get. You know, you get to have every bump exactly where they are, you get to know exactly how the corners feel, and the cars, they are possibly the most realistic Indy cars we've seen in sim racing. Yeah, they're last year's model, but of course similarities very, very close in the handling properties, so these guys get a real advantage in their practice. They can turn laps. A lot of the IndyCar drivers, in fact most of the field I'd say, are on iRacing.com, and they do use it for testing and practice, so it's a perfect opportunity for them. And with guys like Karam and Chavez actually racing here in 16th Street, that gives them a big heads up in terms of actually racing and competing on the track, not just turning laps.
Yeah, and of course, people, IndyCar drivers on iRacing.com include the 2014 Verizon IndyCar Series winner. That is, of course, Will Power. Starting just a couple of moments ago, streaming live on iRacing Live, it is the NASCAR Pro Series. What you do is you finish watching us live, go and check them out on demand afterwards. Check out the guys looking to make it to the top echelon of the NASCAR side of things here on iRacing as they compete for a place in the 2016 NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series powered by iRacing.com. That's brought to you on LSR TV, streaming live on iRacing Live. Let's have a look then. Gaps have increased just a little bit here, but last time by, Joe Branch versus Tim Doyle, a 148.4 for Joe Branch, a 148.9 for Tim Doyle. Out front, we've not really talked about this guy so much, Aaron. Alex Simpson, this is what happens if you basically lead 17 out of 18 laps so far, and you got yourself a 5-second lead. We don't talk about you.
You can call it the young O syndrome, where if you are winning and running away with it, there really isn't that much to talk about. What we could say, Alex Simpson just came through the last corner, hit that apex perfectly, and extends his lead with another great lap time of 1:45.9. So the lead's going to go from 5 seconds to, as Trano crosses the line, 5.4, so another half-second gain, which one of the things that can happen for Trano, when you are hanging with the leader, you find that extra tenth, that extra 2/10, but as the leader slowly pulls away, much like you can see a horse in horse racing, when the other horse starts breaking away, the wheel gets broken just a little bit, and you're going to, instead of losing 1 to 2 tenths, going to start losing 2 to 3, then 3 to 4, and that's where you can maybe make a mistake. So Trano needs to accept that. Odds are he probably isn't going to win this race. Don't try to push it. Don't squander a second place finish. He has 6 seconds in the bank on Pavelski, so no reason to push it right now. And this might be the most we've talked about Alex Simpson all evening.
Yeah, I called it fourth quarter syndrome as well. If you're down by 7 points, it's okay. If you're down by 21 points, well, unless you're 1 or 2 QBs, you're not going to really do anything. Mr. Aaron Likens, I will see you, my good friend, in 3 weeks' time.
Yeah, thank you. Yep, I have to make a meeting, so thanks for having me as a part of a broadcast this evening, and I'll see you next time.
Yep, of course, I'm not here for 2 weeks, so you get to listen to someone else apart from this English guy screaming at 2:14 in the morning. Will Vincent, Rachel Whiteford still here, though. Joe Brandt is on pit road for his second stop of the day. There you can see Joe Brandt in that Verizon Samsung Galaxy S6 machine, out and away in a total time of 7.9 seconds. Also, Tim Darlin towards pit road. That means, Rachel, we're likely going to see your race leader, Alex Simpson, on the lane next time by.
He is now, actually, Will. Alex Simpson heading onto pit road as you spoke, and he will come down for his service. He'll be in Sunoco race fuel and 4 Firestone tyres. Of course, these pit stops are a little shorter than we'd normally see. This race, of course, they are limited on fuel by the series organisers. They could take 14 gallons, not the full 18, so you'll see a slightly shorter stop, as fueling being the longest part of that phase. Simpson with the long drive all the way down to the end of pit road. It must feel like an eternity for your pole sitter in today's race at number 14. Apex Racing UK car pulls into his pit box. The mechanics will go to work on that car up on the air jacks, and he will get service. We'll see exactly how long this pit stop will take for him as he's down and away. Good stop there for Alex Simpson, Will.
8.4 seconds out and away. Matt Pavelski is on pit road as well. Brandon Trano comes your third different leader here today because he hasn't yet stopped. His last time was actually the same as Alex Simpson, so he's evidently saved just a little bit. Now, you're not really going to save much lap time by staying out here, but his pit stop lead maybe 2-3 tenths per second slower. We're into the last third of this event right now. On board with the Steak and Shake car, number 15, Broken Arrow Machine of Brandon Trano. Let's have a listen to that engine note as he heads himself then down through the kink into Canada Corner. Still flat, still easy flat, up to 300 kilometers an hour as he comes down in towards Canada itself. And you can see now Brandon Trano, he's got, by the way, Bradley Walters and Brian Karzeski on pit roads getting themselves services. We're keeping an eye out though on Trano. We expect him onto pit road this time by in that number 15 Broken Arrow car. Let's listen. He's going to come in. Yes, he will. Let's listen to him coming for the gears. Well, perfect. There is that little bump on pit entry, which sometimes upsets these race cars. But Brandon Trano, that's pretty much about as good an in-lap as you can have there. It was a 157 in-lap for Alex Simpson. Let's compare that. Wow, 6 tenths per second faster, Rachel, there, the in-lap for Brandon Trano.
Yeah, you can make up all of that on the pit entry road, Will. It's took a lot of bravery, really, to push it in there as hard as you can on that pit entry road. Of course, you can use some of that angle. The speed you come in at can be higher because you can decelerate quicker on the uphill climb. So you can really get in a lot closer to that pit entry line than you imagine. He does just that. He makes up a lot of time, and it's critical to get that right here. Yeah, and he comes out, importantly, still ahead of Matt Pavelski as well. It was a 9-second pit stop, so actually he lost quite a lot of the time that he gained there over Alex Simpson. Sage Caron brings his car on towards pit road in the number 8 Big Machine Records car as he now brings it down at 45 miles an hour in towards his pit box. It's a slow run there for Caron. You can see a little bit faster into his pit box that time by. No one around him. He can just dart it in, and he will be out and away in
9.3 seconds, so a slightly longer stop for him there, as did Brandon Trainer have. Now we're just waiting for the guy who leads this race, Mikel de Jong, who's running himself now on the exit of the carousel. Through the kink he comes. He's now led officially 2 laps in this event. Brandon Trainer has led 2 laps in this event, and the rest have all been led by Alex Simpson. Just having a look at, indeed, yeah, de Jong should officially lead his 2nd lap the next time he comes past the start-finish line. Through Bill Mitchell Bend then, Mikel de Jong in the Mad Cape Racing Team car. He's evidently not got enough fuel to get himself to the end of this event, but it will be a shorter pit stop for him. There is going to be traffic, though, as he comes on towards pit road. It's just going to be far enough ahead. It's not going to cause him too many issues at all. I believe, actually, that may well have been Gabby Chavez coming out of his pit box. Indeed, it is. In the number 98 car, got yourself a couple of people on pit road. Kyle Kaiser is the guy who is ahead there of Mikel de Jong. He brings his car into his pit box, and well, Rachel, that is pretty much now all of the pit stops done for this event. If you're on pit road now, evidently you've done something wrong to your race car.
Very much so, and of course we saw Traino did pit a little later. He did on both cycles, so of course he's been able to push his fuel a little longer, Will, which means every stop has been a little short. Well, this final stop will be shorter. The previous one will be the same length, but a little bit less fuel to take on board. He can stay in the box a little shorter. It does make up time on the racetrack, so Brandon Trainer, they're able to make a position as we have a car off the track. We did as he went past turn number 3. I believe that was potentially the car of Gabby Chavez. It was. Gabby Chavez had an off.
Yeah, but the important thing on this battle with de Jong and Espati is the fact that Espati came out of pit road behind Mikel de Jong. This is going to be a great scrap now to the line for P number 4 and 5 on track. Austin Espati has got warm tyres. Mikel de Jong has got cold tyres. 23 of 30 laps will be scored complete the next time they come past the start-finish line. And now Austin Espati has to push, but he's lost out there on the early start of that run. Rachel, if you were Austin Espati, you'd have been on the button immediately out of turn 2 to try and counteract the fact that de Jong had cold tyres, trying to push it as de Jong, not de Jong even, Vic Cordell has lost it. And yep, that is down at the final corner, and that is going to be the DHL machine coming on towards pit road, Rach.
Yeah, he'll be down to pit road for his service, and he'll get that race fuel and 4 tyres on the car, so we'll see him heading out of there soon. But yeah, the fight between Espati there, very important he gets that service, or gets his time done. And of course, you want to make advantage now while you have fresh tyres. You want to use a push to pass while people aren't up to speed. You've got to strike early whilst the iron is hot. And if you let things peter out, then things become a little balanced and you lose an advantage.
Yeah, there you can see Cordell. So he's got himself front damage to that car, but he has got himself a new front wing on it. He is going to be out and he's going to bring that car home, but he's down in P number 16. Not necessarily the result he would have wanted here today, and in fact he may well yet be passed by a couple of other drivers in this event. Austin Espati then still 7 tenths of a second behind Mikel de Jong as far as things go right now. And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, still plenty of racing coming your way on RaceSpotTV. And this coming week, of course, we've got ourselves coverage of Skip Barber 2K World Cup on Saturday. We've got ourselves a classic IndyCar series on Saturday. So if you like IndyCar racing, we'll head on over to Twin Reno Motegi. We get to see the old Dallara IR 05 car in action. And that will be the last round of their season. Start time for that will be 2 p.m. GMT. Then, of course, Skip Barber action heads itself to Bathurst. We've got ourselves a 3rd round of the Pro Series of Road Racing. And we wrap things up on our week on Monday Night Skippies, also from Bathurst, on Monday from 9 p.m. GMT. The next time we're on air with you, though, Rachel, is when we have ourselves the first real crazy oval, and we've had crazy oval races so far, but Pocono Raceway is where things are going to get really crazy.
It certainly will, and well, you're not going to be here for it, Will, but I think I will, and it's going to be an incredible race. Pocono always brings up some interesting moments, some exciting racing and some controversy, so it's going to be a tough one for these guys. They always tend to make a good show of it, but we're certainly going to have to wait and see.
As you can see that on board with Joe Branch, he's fallen back actually behind Tim Doyle for that sequence of pit stops. So Tim Doyle with a 9.1 second stop. Joe Bryant with a 7.9 second stop. But it looks as though the component parts were better for Tim Doyle. 1.1 seconds separating these two guys. And actually, no, it's Joe Bryant had himself an off the last time these guys were running. So it looks like Joe Bryant actually has fallen behind the driver of Tim Doyle, and that one has happened on the racetrack. We're getting ourselves a second look at this one then. As there you can see, we're going to ride ourselves on board with Tim Doyle. You can see he's quite clearly behind Joe Bryant at this point. But then Joe Bryant is going to become a victim to the back end of this racetrack, as we have seen already here today. Joe Bryant, unfortunately, is going to push wide at Canada Corner, and that is going to allow Tim Doyle to move himself quite quickly into P number 10. And that is always the thing. You never want to give Tim Doyle a way of getting past, because he will take it in a heartbeat. But this is going to be one good scrap going on for P number 10 and 11 as we round out our event. But also, Rachel, P4 through P5, that one will go down to the wire.
Yeah, P4 through 5 will be a close one. Of course, it's very little time between them now. Looking at maybe just under half a second between those two guys, so it's going to be to the wire. Of course, we saw Aston Espete get out just behind De Jong, so he really needs to take advantage now. He needs to use any push-to-passes he has left and get this position, but do you do it early, Will, or do you wait until he can't respond in the draft or his own push-to-passes?
I think the issue is always very simple, is that if you leave it to the last moment and they've got enough themselves, you're just going slightly faster around the racetrack. If you've got push to passes, you want to surprise the driver. And you'd probably want to do that now. And then hope that they are going to get aggressive themselves and they're not going to be able to respond to you. One guy who is pushing, that is Sage Karam right now in the number 8 Big Machine Records car, closing back up to the rear of Eric Davis. On the first lap of this event, Karam lost out to Davis. He is after retribution as we close this one out. 5 laps to go now, as actually Karam had a very bad exit of the final corner. That means that now Davis has a 1.4 second cushion. Back on board then with Austin Espete. He didn't use the bottom on the run down into turn number 5. 4.5 laps to go underneath the Corvette bridge. They will come. Rachel, the simple answer to your question is the element of surprise. Now, we don't know when guys are using the bottom. The drivers don't know when guys are using the bottom, but you can generally tell that they're using the bottom, and you've always got that half a second between one guy getting on and another guy reacting.
Yeah, of course, it's hard to see when someone behind you has deployed that push to pass, but you get the feeling once they start gaining on you, and by that point, it's probably a little too late to use yours. So you really have to use it strategically if you're going to defend with that, and deploy it deliberately without really knowing what their intentions are, so you can maintain a gap rather than defending actively against one. And in this case, both these guys could be out now. They've both been in heavy fighting throughout this race, so neither could have any of their 10 allotted push to passes remaining, which could mean this will be a old school battle on the track.
Yep, as you can see that Karam has closed back up to the rear of Eric Davis. We're going to ride on board of him through the kink, and that is aggressive right now by Karam. He is on the bottom. He is closing up to Eric Davis. You can just tell there by the way he was taking the kink. You talk about, Rachel, earlier how it's flat. In fact, we're going to go back on board now with Karam, because here we go through Bill Mitchell Bend. He's being ultra aggressive here as he wants to get past Davis. He's not going to try and do it. He almost runs into the rear there of Eric Davis. Just a little bit of a love tap. They come up the hill then. Will Karam use the button? Will Davis use the button as they come down in towards turn number 1? And well, that was no harm, no real foul. None of those drivers losing any body parts by the look of it in towards turn 1. Yet the front wing looks okay on Karam's car. The rear end plates look okay on that Dallara DW12 of Eric Davis. But, well, Rachel, that's the thing. Now, of course, that's one opportunity gone for Karam. And that's just one less time that Davis needs to play defense. Gap is 0.4 per second. And I think that for a moment, Eric Davis will have a little bit of respite.
Very much so, and of course that tap actually lost momentum for Karam. But just a shout out to IndyCar safety, Will. That's exactly where we have those features. The rear bumper pods are for that very situation. The way that Karam hit the back there of Davis, he would have probably ridden up his rear wheel, which is a very bad situation for both drivers, but just a testament to exactly why these cars are designed the way they are and what it prevents. So the car's doing exactly what they're meant to do here, as we have Karam coming into the hurry downs, gaining slightly in the back of Davis, but not going to be enough right now. Might see him make another lunge here through the kink. Karam definitely seemed a little faster in the kink, Will.
Yeah,
In the carousel, sorry.
It seems to be as though Davis is faster in sector number 1 of this racetrack. Sage Karam is faster in sector number 2. And the run down to Canada they come again. To give you an update, by the way, Austin SPT is still behind Mikel de Jong, so we're going to stick it with Karam. He's going to try and do the crossover on the exit now of Canada corner, working himself through Bill Mitchell Bend once again. And this time Karam actually is going to do a different strategy. He's going to think about going to the outside in the final corner. This doesn't work. Sage Karam up into P6. Pass of the race around the outside of turn number 14. That was fantastic, and you can see that
here
one.
Here he comes, though. Davis coming responding, Will. Davis on the button here. He will respond on Karam to the outside as we approach turn 1. Big, brave move, and he takes that position back. But here comes Karam to the inside. Karam will defend. Beautiful racing.
We're having a look at a replay from the start of this one then. We're going to get ourselves a look at the full part of this. You can see it started with the outside line down onto the final corner. We're going to stick it now on board with Eric Davis as he's just lost that position back once again. But now on board with Davis, and this is down into turn number 1. It'll be an outside pass once again. He got himself clear before they came down into turn number 1. Karam defended the line, but then Davis pushed wide on the exit of the corner, and Karam actually then got the position back. I want to have ourselves just one more look at this one if we can, as we've got ourselves, there we are. Look, this is down into Bill Mitchell Bend, so this is from the exit of Canada corner, and we're just going to try and zoom and have a look at this one. Here we are, coming down into Canada right now. The outside line, you don't often see that one, but Davis immediately able to react there, and he was then able to run the outside line down in towards turn 1. The overspeed, though, it reared its ugly head as Karam back behind Davis once again, although these two guys side by side as they're coming back in towards Canada corner again. Karam back down to the inside, and he again manages to get past. There is one more lap to go after this one at the front, but this is what you talk about, Rachel. At the end of the race, everyone just uses the button one after the other after the other.
Yeah, and then you have none left, and you're left wanting, but Karam making that pass there with momentum this time so he can defend for now. We'll see if Davis can respond any sooner. He's not gaining so fast, so don't think he has the button this time by. That could have been his last he's used to fight there, but what a couple of laps were between Karam and Davis. Incredible racing there. I've loved this from Karam all season long in the Verizon IndyCar Series. Well, Sage Karam has been a scrappy dogfighter on the road courses. A lot of promise for that driver, and he's showing it here.
Yep, just to give you an update, by the way, Austin SPT has fallen back now a second behind Mikel de Jong as far as that one goes. So, the reason why we've not been showing that one is because, well, actually, SPT has been falling back. It looks as though Mikel de Jong is in a position to consolidate that 4th position on the racetrack. Alex Simpson, however, worked himself out of turn number 14. The white flag is out. There is now one more lap to go here. 4 miles of Elkhart Lake separate Alex Simpson from victory, as Brandon Trost will come by, and he also sees the white flag. These guys now know they've got one more lap to go. If they've got any use of the button left, it is officially go time. We're going to ride on board with Austin SPT. We're keeping an eye out at the times right now. Karam is 0.8 of a second ahead of Eric Davis, and we've got ourselves 0.6 of a second between Mikel de Jong and Austin SPT as they come down in towards turn 1. It doesn't look as though SPT has anything yet, and also almost had traffic in towards turn 1. He's just able to avoid it, so they work themselves now down in towards turn number 2 for what will be the final time in the event. Back on board with Austin SPT. Has he got anything left? Realistically, he should use it here. He's looking as though he is gaining actually quite a bit, but not enough. Just a 1/10 of a second so far as they work themselves down into turn number 5. He won't be close enough. He's got to get himself into position, but the aero push is going to be hard for him. Eric Davis, 1.1 second now behind Sage Karam. It looks as though Karam may well win that battle out. Jack Turner still scrapping it out with Terry Mattinson. That is down for P number 14. That's your last remaining real battle going out on track. Of course, it's been a miserable day for Banshee Autosport. They all got collected in issues at the same time. But here is Alex Simpson looking to make a statement in terms of the championship. On the exit now of turn number 14 for car number 14, Alex Simpson wins back-to-back road course races in the 16th Street Racing League, and he now is a picture in the championship. Brandon Traino will come home in P number 2. Matt Pavelski working himself down into the final corners. Now he'll come home in 3rd. And then De Jong versus Ospati. It doesn't look as though Ospati has anything for De Jong as they head themselves out the final corner. And indeed, no, it looks as though that Ospati will have to remain in P5 only. All the way further back, you can see that Eric Davis has fallen back now to 1.3 seconds behind Sage Karam. So it looks as though that Davis will finish P number 7 when all is said and done. No real remaining battles on the racetrack, but it is the day of Alex Simpson as he makes himself a huge statement in terms of the championship. It was tied with Brandon Trost coming into this event, 31 points behind Tim Holgate, who is your championship leader. Coming out of this event, it will be very close. You got yourself Matt Pavelski coming out as your championship leader, but you'll have Alex Simpson right there behind. Now, the shoe's on the other foot for Tim Holgate, and he's going to have to hope that the Oval at Pocono in a week's time will play favourably. That drop weeks will play favourably. Otherwise, this is going to be very interesting to see whether Alex Simpson could be a 16th Street Racing League champion. The Racer post-race show will come up in a moment, but first, here's a look at your final race results from this round number 6 of the 16th Street Racing League. As you can see, Alex Simpson, 6.4 second advantage over Brandon Trainer when all was said and done. Apex Racing UK and then Broken Arrow, P2 and P3 on the podium. Mikel de Jong for Mad Cape Racing Team in 4th. Austin Espati in 5th. Then Sage Karam, Eric Davis, Ezalia de Carvello, Bradley Walters, and then Tim Doyle round out your top 10. Very close top 10 in parts, but overall separated by 1 minute 44 seconds. We had ourselves a total of 11 drivers on the lead lap. Brian Karzeski comes home in 11th when all was said and done. Actually, no, Stroh Branch even. Then you got yourself, there's the remainder of your top 20. 19 drivers finished. Gabby Chavez at the rear of the field. Then a number of retirees in this event as well. There, you can see it cycling up on your screen. The Racer post-race show is next. It is here. It is live on RaceSpotTV, streaming live on IndyCar.com. But congratulations to Alex Simpson, back-to-back winner on the road courses.
Truex on the outside, contact made. 56 slides it in at 4. Who's going to be into the stripe? Dead even, give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Racer post-race show here from round number 6 of the 2015 16th Street Racing League. Don't forget, for all the latest motorsports news from around the world, pick up Racer Magazine in stores now, and also you can go to racer.com. Will Vinton along with Rachel Whiteford here, and Rachel, it wasn't as crazy as Barber Motorsports Park. It wasn't as crazy as Sebring, but I'll tell you one thing, this series is still spectacular, and the road course dominance here today shone through for that driver of Alex Simpson winning his second road course event in a row. He now is clearly a championship favourite. As I have to say that back, it wasn't Sebring, it was Barber and of course and Mid-Ohio 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, very much so. And Simpson, of course, coming off the back of a recent dominant result in the World Cup of iRacing finals for the Club UK and Ireland team. He's really good in this car. Of course, that was an event that took place in the IndyCar as well. Alex Simpson, a real talent in open wheel racing, of course, runs in the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix series. We also have here on RaceSpotTV and iRacing Live. Amazing talent, really amazing talent. Great to see him running full-time in 16th Street this season. And you can see exactly what this is producing. An incredible talent that really ends up bringing home results.
We'll have a chat with Alex Simpson in a moment's time. Before we do so, here is confirmation of your top 10. Alex Simpson then claims victory by 6.4 seconds from Brandon Traino. Matt Pavelski in 3rd place. Mikel de Jong in 4th. Then you got yourself Austin Esparti in 5th. You've got yourself Sage Karam in 6th. Eric Davis in 7th. Xavier de Carvela in 8th. And then P number 9. Bradley Walters, Tim Doyle rounds out your top 10. And Alex Simpson is here now live on the Racer post-race show. And well, back-to-back winner now, Alex, in the 16th Street Racing League on a road course. Congratulations. Now, surely the word championship is starting to get into the back of your mind.
Yeah, we've got a little eye on it, I won't lie.
Well, talk us through your race, because it seems to be one of those classic lights of flag victories which every driver wants to have happen in their career. We have a look at the statistics here today. You led 26 laps out of 30. The only time you didn't lead was when you were on pit road and guys came in a couple of laps later.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good race for us. I mean, those are the kind of races you want, really. You know, we knew that Brandon was there. We just had a little bit on him in the middle of the laps. We were able to pull away slowly, but steadily. And yeah, car was good over the long run. No issues with tyres or anything like that. I mean, the weather was pretty gusty out there today, and the wind was changing all over the place, and that really did change the balance every lap. So that was quite difficult. And really, I just just made sure I didn't push anywhere too hard that would cause any kind of snap oversteer moment or anything like that. But car was good, I was happy, and yeah, more of those. I mean, I love Road America. It's great to see that back on the real life schedule as well. Can't wait to watch that race. So yeah, to be on the track with people like Sage and that, so it's quite fun.
How was traffic here today? Because it was a race that, despite being long, is one that often has big gaps between drivers. So was traffic difficult at any point for you guys at all?
Yeah, traffic was the best it's been actually all season long. I've struggled a little bit with traffic, especially with the short tracks. You catch it up really quickly, build a little gap, and lose 2 seconds, and then of course it's on and you're under a little bit of pressure. So but today was really good. There was, like you say, there was big gaps. Everybody sort of lifted and let you pass down the big long straight, so it was so much easier. Time that you were losing was really negligible. So yeah, the guys who were being lapped really did a great job today, so I need to thank them.
Well, the next time we are on air here in the 16th Street Racing League will be in 1 week's time, and that will be at Pocono Raceway, which we think could well easily go down as the craziest oval of the schedule. What's your game plan heading to the Tricky Triangle in a week's time?
Well, I'm pretty hopeful that we've got a good set there. Just talking to the guys. Of course, we got a technical alliance with Broken Arrow. They're pretty happy. They've got a strong car. I know from the previous oval season that we had a strong car as well. So hopefully we can take bits off of both cars and make something that's going to take us to the top.
Well, before we let you go, the floor is yours, Alex. Time to give some shout-outs.
Yeah, big shout out to yourself and Rachel. Really late here again, coming on to 3 o'clock. So you guys do an amazing job staying up. That's dedication. And yeah, just want to shout out to my old man, the sponsors, Simputers PC Systems, Leah Bodner, Precision Sim Engineering, everybody at Apex, and yeah, basically the organisers for the league. So I'm really enjoying it. Hence why I stay up so late to do it.
Alex Simpson now winning his second road course in a row here in the 16th Street Racing League. Of course, today he had by far the better of Brandon Traino in that Broken Arrow number 15 Steak and Shake car. He stood by, hopefully, with a Steak and Shake in hand with Rachel Whiteford.
Yes, indeed, Brandon Traino came home today in second place. Of course, he started in second place as well. All he's had to see all day was the back of Alex Simpson's bumper pods. Brandon, tough race for you. Not quite what you'd have wanted in terms of result, but certainly a good finish in the championship points.
Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty much just watched Alex pull away the whole time, but made up some really good points. Actually finished the road race with no damage. So to finish second, it's a really good points day for us, and hopefully we can continue that momentum on to Pocono, I believe it is.
It is indeed. Pocono will be the next track up, and of course you have a strong history at that track. You're expecting to bring home the checkered flag there?
Oh, absolutely. We love Pocono over Broken Arrow. We've got a lot of speed there. We've always been very, very quick there. So it suits our driving style, and hopefully we can bring home the checkers.
Well, Brandon Traino, of course, coming home in second place today. Second step to the podium and vital championship points, Will.
He does. And that Broken Arrow Steak and Shake number 15 machine are going to be hot favourites as we head ourselves in 1 week's time to the Tricky Triangle of Pocono Raceway. Got ourselves also the chance to have a chat with Matt Pavelski coming home, rounding off your podium here in the number 75 car, the most colourful car on the grid. Matt Pavelski, well, you got yourself P3 here today, had yourself some scraps from Mikel de Jong along the way. Talk us through your event.
First off, I just want to say thoughts and prayers to everybody affected by the events in France. For the race, it was kind of just, try to keep the car into one piece, just keep it on track, because if you keep it on track here, it's a big deal, because those straights are just so long. Any mistake can cost you a second, and so, that was just the main goal with Michelle, and I think for the most part, did pretty well at that, had a few moments here and there, but, it was a pretty spread out race.
Well, in terms of the championship for you guys overall, as far as our math goes, you now lead the championship as we head ourselves over to the wonderful, beautiful, crazy Tricky Triangle known as Pocono Raceway. Pressure?
Actually, I thought I was in second, so not really. I thought I'd be in second by 4 points to Alex coming out of this week, but if I'm in the lead, great. If not, no big deal. I have 5 weeks to get into it. Just got to keep running strong, try to finish the races, keep the car, I always say this, keep it in one piece, and, just try not to get in anybody's bad side and potentially hurt yourself in the long run.
The Tricky Triangle is going to be a place where you don't want to make enemies. Matt Pavelski coming home in P number 3. Got ourselves the opportunity as the Racer post-race show carries on as well to have a chat with Austin SBT. He stood by with Whiteford.
Yes, indeed. We've got Austin Espite here. Austin came home today in P number 5, so a great top 5 finish for you, Austin, in that 777 Apex Academy car. Great racing, especially towards the end there. You were catching Michelle de Jong. Tell us about your race, especially the last race lap battle.
Oh, well, start on the beginning when the start was kind of discombobulated. I kind of did a little, I think, sort of late move on stage, which evidently helped me. But towards the end of the race, when Cal beat me out of the pits, I was just waiting for my push pass kind of until the final lap, kind of just hovered behind him. I thought I had 2. I had only had 1, and I was going to use one of them, kind of see if we can drag race up the line, but I used 1 too many, and he ended up beating me by 3/10, like that.
Just how tough was the track today, Austin? Of course, we did see the swirling wind conditions out there. Was it a major factor in the race and the car control?
Oh yeah, because every lap it was a different thing. The carousel, you'd be able to grip one time, the next time you'd be pushing way out. Then Canada corner would be a different issue. So basically, if you'd have a spotter, you'd rather just have them call out the wind direction, so you know which one you'd be prepared for.
Major achievement and a very tricky track. Austin Espite comes home with a top 5 tonight, Will, and valuable points.
I like that idea, almost like having a live version of the shipping report going on, Rachel, whilst these guys going around the racetrack.
That put me to sleep. The shipping report always does.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's perfect, but of course, it is useful in track conditions like this, and people forget, of course, in the Verizon IndyCar Series, there's so many people that work behind the scenes, be it crew chief, be it spotters, to make the drivers have the best opportunity on the racetrack. And even on a road course, I remember the fact that you'd get people in the stands looking at track conditions, looking to see where the marble pickups were, because drivers from their part of the, behind the race car, they can't always see all of this stuff.
Yeah, certainly, and it's a huge issue, the wind conditions. I was involved in a race recently where we had 3 different sets of conditions that we ran through, and it completely changed the car in all 3. Completely changed. And when this is happening to you lap after lap after lap in such dramatic ways, and cars are incredibly aerosensitive, it is a major thing to keep on top of, and it can win or lose the race for you.
Indeed so, and of course, the next time we head on air, we go to the tricky triangle, and you talk about needing to have a car perfectly set up. Well, when we get there, I always say at Poker Night, you have to make the balance between either having a car which is fast in turn number 1 or fast in turn number 3. Now, turn 2 is always a giveaway. You always basically set a car up and you just pray when you go through 2. But these guys, well, I've got to make sure they're fast coming out of turn 1 or fast coming out of turn 3. They're going to have any chance of going fast, well, doing well overall. And Rachel, the best drivers are those who actually find a way of getting that middle ground. So they may not be the fastest guy corner after corner, but they're going to be the most consistent around that 2.5 mile racetrack.
Yeah, it's a major consideration, and it's one of those tracks that provides a very difficult challenge. 3 distinct corners, and turn 3, I do about 12-15 different lines through that corner, and it's pretty tough to be on the same one each time. So you've got to be a driver that can really get up on the wheel and feel the car, okay? It's not a matter of I turn in here, I track out here, I turn in here, I lift off there, I track out here. You've got to be able to feel what the car's doing, feel the back end, feel the front, feel the tyres turning, and that's a major factor for that track. Aero push can be a thing, but at the same time, it's very much about handling the race car yourself. So you tend to get quite a scrappy race, and there could be some 5, 6, 7, 8 wide occurrences, very quick restarts. It's a huge battleground.
Yeah, and that will be here on RaceSpotTV in 1 week's time, streaming live on iRacing Live and also on IndyCar.com. And let's not just say IndyCar.com, it is the new IndyCar.com. If you've not checked out the website, check out the new IndyCar.com. As a web designer myself, I must say it looks rather beautiful. And we'll be, of course, having ourselves a little battle going on between NASCAR and IndyCar. I'll tell you one thing, the IndyCar website looks much better than the NASCAR website right now. But that is pretty much all we have time for here today for this round of the 16th Street Racing League. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, live now on LSR TV, streaming live on iRacing Live, we have ourselves another round of the NASCAR Pro Series. Go and check it out. Don't forget, we'll be back in 1 week, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, for the next round of the championship. That will be here on RaceSpotTV. It will be live on IndyCar.com. From myself, Will Vincent, and from Rachel Whitehead, thank you very much for being a part of our coverage here today. We'll see you in a week in Pennsylvania at the tricky triangle.